Here, Governor Gilmore, you have said in the past that you believe in the first 8 to 12 weeks of pregnancy that a woman should have the right to have an abortion. Do you still want to stick with that exception?
I do, Chris. My views on this, my beliefs on this are a matter of conviction, and they've always been the same, and they've never changed the entire time that I've been in public life. However, my record as governor of Virginia, I think, has been one that the pro-life community of which I'm a part would be very proud. Passing a 24-hour waiting period, passing informed consent, passing parental notification, signing the partial birth abortion law in Virginia. So I think the record is there. But my views are strongly and fundamentally believed and been held that way.
Governor Thompson, do you have any nuance on this, or you're just happy with the repeal of Roe v. Wade?
I believe it should be left up to the states. That was what was originally implied, and the Constitution was changed when the Supreme Court made the decision. I, like a lot of people up here, have made a record of pro-life for a long time, signing the partial birth abortion, pre-notification for parents, and so on. I think it's imperative that states have the responsibility for making these laws.
John.
Governor Romney, in recent months, you've said you were, quote, always for life, but we've also heard you say you were once, quote, effectively pro-choice. Which is it?
Well, I've always been personally pro-life, but for me there was a great question about whether or not government should intrude in that decision. And when I ran for office, I said I'd protect the law as it was, which is effectively a pro-choice position. About 2 years ago, when we were studying cloning in our state, I said, look, we have gone too far. It's a brave new world mentality that Roe v. Wade has given us, and I changed my mind. I took the same course that Ronald Reagan and George Herbert Walker Bush and Henry Hyde took, and I said I was wrong and changed my mind and said I'm pro-life. And I'm proud of that, and I want to apologize to anybody for becoming pro-life.
Governor, with respect, some people are going to see those changes of minds as awfully politically convenient.
You know, I told you that I studied at great length this issue. When I ran, for the very first time, I told you that I was personally pro-life, but that I would protect a woman's right to choose as the law existed, and that stayed the same until 2 years ago, as I indicated. And at that time, as a result of the debate we had, the conclusion I reached was that we had gone too far, that cloning and that creating new embryos was wrong, and that we should therefore allow our state to become a pro-life state. I believe states should have the right to make this decision, and that's a position I indicated in an op-ed in the Boston Globe 2 years ago.
Senator Brownback, this is an important issue for you.
It is.
Could you support a nominee of your party who is not pro-life?
I could, because I believe in the Ronald Reagan principle that somebody that's with you 80% of the time is not your enemy. That's your friend and that's your ally. And this is a big coalition party. And it's a coalition party that's governed for a number of years in this country. And it governs because it governs with a coalition of economic and social conservatives and people that want to be strong for the United States. But I want to emphasize, I believe life is one of the central issues of our day. And I believe that every human life at every phase is unique, is beautiful, is a child of a loving God.
That's the time. Let me get back to Governor or Mayor Giuliani, because I want to give you a chance on this. You became very well known for standing up against the use of public funds for what many people considered indecent exhibits at the Brooklyn Museum and places like that. Why do you support the use of public funds for abortion?
I don't. I support the Hyde Amendment. I hate abortion. I wish people didn't have abortion.
So you're not for funding at all?
I believe that the Hyde Amendment should remain the law. States should make their decision. Some states decide to do it. Most states decide not to do it. And I think that's the appropriate way to have this decided.
Should New York, when Mayor of New York, should they have been paying for, the state should have been paying for?
That's a decision New York made a long time ago. New York
and where were you on that?
I supported it in New York, but I think in other places people can come to a different decision.
Thank you.